What's going on, y'all? BigBossFabo, man. We back with a video. We actually are doing a Law and Crime Network reaction. So we got 9 teens charged in South Carolina love triangle murder, man. So we're going to get some detail on this about the occurrence that happened in Florence County. So like, comment, subscribe, man. Let me know y'all's thoughts on this one, and then we can go ahead and hop right into it.
At least 9 teenagers are now charged with murder. They're accused of being part of a plot to lure a fellow teenager to a place where someone he knew was waiting with a gun. And all of this was allegedly over a girl. Right now, we know the names of 5 people who are facing charges in this story. And when we were
You hear that, lady? You hear that, gentleman? Specifically, all this was over a girl. Females historically have always gotten men killed, but it's happening more so now than ever. Don't fall into the trap of lust, gentlemen.
Searching the newest names to be added to the list of suspects in this case, we were shocked with what one of the teens now charged with murder had apparently posted on her social media not too long ago. We're on the case, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. An update for you today on a story that we have been following out of South Carolina. It is a story of a group of young people who allegedly, according to police, came together to lure a fellow teenager to a place where he would be murdered. And all of this was allegedly over something that I think we can all agree, in the grand scheme of life, does not really matter, and that is teenage romance. This story has become even bigger since our first episode on this case, which was back in June. And it involves the man you see here, Trey Wright. He was just 16 years old. On June 24th, police say they found him with multiple gunshot wounds around 11:30 p.m. along a country road in South Carolina. Before I get to the new suspects in this case and what one of them allegedly posted on Facebook, let's get you caught up to speed on how we got to this point. This is Devin Raper. He is the man who police say fired the bullets that killed Trey Wright. Raper appeared to try to put on this bad boy persona on social media. He has a TikTok that's still public, and you can see some of the pictures like this one here, where he's flipping the bird at the camera, and he has the caption, "I wish we never met. I wish you would have stopped giving me missed signals, but can you stop, because I'm trying to get to know your friend right now." Now, Trey, it appears, knew his alleged killer. They both followed each other on TikTok, but they were not friends. According to police, they were reportedly at odds over a girl at the time of Trey's murder. Now, it's unclear if this is the girl that they were fighting over. Her name is Gianna Kirstenmacher, and she was reportedly Trey Wright's girlfriend. The 17-year-old is charged with orchestrating his murder. The Florence County Sheriff's Office says that Kirstenmacher knew that there was a rivalry between Trey Wright and Devin Raper, and deputies say that she drove Raper to meet Wright on the night of his murder, quote, knowing that Raper was armed and that there would be a confrontation for violence likely to lead to death based on statements made in her presence.
A lot of people talk about how, you know, the youth of today has no understanding or like concept of life, and they tend to throw it away very casually. When we see the murder rates are through the roof in the inner communities out, and this is a perfect example that stuff doesn't always happen in the interim of the community, right? Like, so, but just to have, you see countless stories of this to where it's a girl, a woman, pretty much pitting 2 men against each other.
Now, she was initially facing a charge of accessory before the fact, and she was denied bond at that time, but her charges have been upgraded. She is now facing a charge of murder in connection to the death of Trey Wright, yet she's now out of jail. She was released on bond under strict conditions. Now, Raper is being held without bond. He is the one.
This boy is finna have a hell of a time in prison. Like, he's done. He's finito. He's over with. It's always these tough kids that, like, they have this persona. Whether it's the social media persona, they want to look like the bad boy within the group, but these guys get treated when they go to prison. County jail, if that, let alone prison.
Who allegedly fired the shots in this case. At his first court appearance, he tried to argue for himself in front of the judge. This is how it went down. This video per WBTW.
I did not do none of this. There was 4 more people.
All right, I'm not here to try.
I understand that.
I'm not here to try your case, but you can speak to law enforcement and you can also.
They won't.
Before I get to the new suspects.
See, they be singing like birds. As soon as they're in handcuffs, you know, they get in a little bit of trouble. The room has been shaking a little bit, so to speak. They start singing like birds, man. They tweeting, well, I wasn't there. There's 5 other people. Like, bro was just going down the whole snitching path right now.
In this case, it's important to know that Raper was known to the criminal justice system. He was arrested in August of last year on a charge of being an accessory after the fact to felony or murder. And he was released from jail in November, and then the charges were dismissed in February of this year, according to WBTW.
Like, you just got off, too, and you over here just trying to be rambunctious. Slap on the wrist, just don't learn. It's like you got to get burned.
Now, you heard Raper in that court video claiming that other people were involved in what happened, saying that there were 4 more people that were in the vehicle with him. Now, it's unclear who he specifically is talking about, but this week, police arrested 3 more teenagers. Here are their mugshots. Their names, Corinne Belviso, Hunter Kendall, and Sydney Kearns. All 3 are now facing charges of murder.
Like
now, it appears Belviso and Kirstenmacher were members of the same cheerleading team at a high school in Myrtle Beach. Arrest warrants that we received from the Florence County Sheriff's Office show that these new teenagers to be added to the list of suspects are accused of bringing Raper to the scene knowing that he was armed and knowing there would be a violent confrontation. And Trey Wright was apparently no stranger to these new suspects. And what one of the new suspects posted on social media about Trey Wright really shocked us. Here it is. We found the social media of Corinne Belviso, now facing a charge of murder. On June 25th, which is the day after Trey Wright was killed, this is what she posted on her Facebook page. It is a link to the GoFundMe page for Trey Wright saying, quote, they've made a GoFundMe to help Trey's family. If you're able to donate, anything will help. Trey was one of my friends. We're heartbroken. To know him was to love him. LLT. That stands for Long Live Trey. That has become a battle cry for people who are remembering him, honoring him, and calling for justice after his
crocodile tears, man. It's wicked. We live in a very wicked place to where even I find myself being a victim of just not trusting or just believing what women say anymore. Female nature has been very vindictive. Obviously, there's a reason why hell hath no fury like a woman scorned is even a saying, right? Women are emotional. They act on their emotions, and they know how to teeter-totter on that emotional fine line, right? Or that emotional balance beam. So the more you understand female nature, right? And this isn't a ploy to knock women, but there's the whole Me Too stuff and everything going on with believe all women and, you know, guilty until proven innocent is just a huge problem within this country. Huge problem in the country. You know, you have women who will falsely claim that they've been raped for it to be falsified, a falsified report, and nothing happens to them after the fact. They're not held accountable. That's why it's like kryptonite to them. Accountability is kryptonite to a woman. They can't just say, yes, I did it. Oh, I was wrong. Like, and of course, we're speaking generally. Not every woman is like that, but the more you turn a blind eye to female nature, the more you get finessed. But once you understand that, you know, you can't really always believe everything they say, they're habitual liars and try to be politically correct, at that point, you know, watch where you move, watch how you step. Don't allow yourself to fall into situations and scenarios to where they could just immediately say, point the finger and say he did it and start crying.
PD as a lawyer who is not holding back and saying that she's innocent. He told WPDE that his client is innocent, saying, quote, it's really simple. She's not guilty of anything. We've hashed through the stories. She's talked with police. I'm shocked she was charged, and I will defend this case with every breath I have. She's not guilty of anything. Belviso and Kearns, 2 of the new teenagers who were just arrested and charged in this case, they have been released from jail. They were granted $20,000 bonds. Hunter Kendall was denied bond, and he is still in jail at the time of this.
You see my point? Like, even in how they're dealing with the bond hearings and how bonds are granted if not denied. I mean, we don't know the details of who was that much more involved compared to the other. But all we know is that all the women are bonded out. Like, you see what I'm saying? So I think the downfall of this country and the world is to pull the wool over one's eyes or to brush things under the rug when we blatantly see throughout history that women are conniving in a lot of shape, forms, and facets. And just because they're the weaker sex doesn't mean that they're not manipulative. It doesn't mean that they don't need to be held accountable. But we just live in such a clown world today, man, where these things still haven't been like reformed on how situations are handled when somebody falsifies or makes false claims. Along the lines of defamation, like, bro, we should cancel these people. And there should be no believe all women type of thing just because they cry and, you know, they're the weaker sex. Like, give us a break, man.
Recording. According to WPDE in South Carolina, 4 other suspects have been arrested and charged with murder in the death of Trey Wright, which brings the number at the time of this recording.
It's a kid, man. This is a kid. It's like, you always hear white people talking about, oh, fatigue is real, the fatigue is real, or when the situation or incidents that happen with minorities or blacks. But no way, white people always go quiet when something happens within their community or within, amongst white individuals. You know, the reality of the world is there's bad people everywhere. Of course, the media is going to try to portray things, and the statistics do speak for themselves. But there's fatigue all over the world, man. Like, these are kids. Kids thinking it's cool to kill another kid in high school over a failed relationship or being in a third wheel, or I don't even know, just liking a girl and somebody else liked her too. But this is my thing, man. Like, there's situations like this elsewhere, and I think people need to understand that we're falling as a people naturally. So all this pointing the fingers, man, it's just like, nah, we all falling.
To 9 people who have been charged in connection to Trey Wright's death. We have reached out to the Florence County Sheriff for the names of these new suspects and information on their arrests. At the time of this recording, they have not gotten back to us. Join us now from South Carolina to talk about this case is Tyler Bailey, civil rights and criminal defense attorney. It's always great to have you on Law and Crime. What do you make? I mean, 9 suspects in this case, all charged with murder in the death of Trey Wright. What stands out to you in just how law enforcement is going about this investigation?
Well, first, just on a human level, it's a tragedy, especially when you have young people involved in gun violence and loss of life like this. And the first thing that went to my head was that this is kind of an unprecedented way to use the hands of one, hands of all jurisprudence, which is something that's used often in South Carolina involving gun crimes or possession of drugs, but I haven't seen it much with murder, especially when you have 9 young people. And it also appears to be a way for the local government and sheriff's office to probably combat youth violence, looking at a way to send a message that, young people and kids, teenagers, school starting back, don't assist people who have firearms and are about to engage in altercation, because you have 9 kids or young adults, some teenagers, some 18 or older, who actually helped the accused get to the victim, and the victim tragically lost his life. So it's really unprecedented on those fronts. And then the bail also seems to be low because these are serious allegations that kids or young people, let me rephrase that, are charged with, but the bond does not seem indicative of the seriousness of the crime, which leads me to believe that this could be a way or a tool to get them all involved in the case by law enforcement and then possibly work out deals.
I'm talking about that working out deals from this point on, man. Are you kidding me, bro?
Took control.
South from there.
Yeah, because it's from what we know, several of the suspects have been released on $20,000 bonds. The man, Devin Raper, who is accused of firing the shots, he is still being held without bond. What will prosecutors have to prove in these cases of...
And you forgot the other gentleman who hasn't been accused of firing any shots, but he's still held without bond.
The associates of the person they say fired the shots. What will they need to prove if they were to take these to trial?
They'll need to prove that the associates knew that the accused was going to the location with the intent to commit murder.
He's done. You already saw how Buddy was singing in the courtroom, but this is the circles he's hanging around with. They all snitching. They all gonna be singing You know what I'm saying? Especially when you involve yourself in criminal activity with women as bystanders, man. Women ain't gonna keep it solid. They gonna fold. They'll fold like a lawn chair. Oh, he did it though. Well, they got no type of loyalty. So it's over for you, bud. It's over. But it just goes back to the conversation of why. Why are we in this situation? Why are we live in a world to where everybody just getting killed? And for the dumbest reasons. Obviously, the accessibility of firearms plays a huge role, but at the same time, man, we live in a day and age to where it's just normalized. And I'm talking about, obviously, if you have a firearm, know how to use it responsibly, but it's normal to be strapped, to be armed nowadays, because your next door neighbor could break into your home on some wild stuff. That's the world we're living in today, to where the most random things are happening under our nose because we have social media, right? We have a front row seat into these type of things. But I think just with the advancement and just modern day, this is, you know what I'm saying? It's like, these are advanced problems. You can't want technological and societal advancement without having the bad end of the stick, the bad end to where those, criminal activity is going to go up along with it. So yeah, comment down below. Let me know y'all's thoughts, man. Prayers out to the family. RIP to the young man who lost his life, man. That's a young kid, and they are just going back to school. Now this kid's whole life is over with. It's just confusing to me. It's confusing to me, and I don't want to like put any validity behind inner city crimes. But when you're in poverty, crime-ridden, drug-ridden areas, right? Evil kind of, or degeneracy thrives there. It doesn't take too much for you to second guess hearing fatal news coming out of these areas. But when you hear stuff like this, hey, like I said, people are crazy everywhere, especially white people out in the country. I'm just playing. But point being is, man, these are the areas to where everybody says it's so safe, and we want to be in a white-only community. So it's like you can't point the finger and not have accountability of real-world problems that every ethnic group deals with. So that's why I'm so tired of the whole black fatigue thing, because, of course, black people is weird. It'd be doing crazy, goofy things, but wild things, extreme things. But, hey, look up Florida man stories, and I'll tell you how many white folks will fall on that list. And they're all across the country, so pick your poison. You can never tell, and you can't just always say it's just one side or the other, or black and white. So comment down below. We'll see you on the next video, man. Peace, love, prosperity. We out. God bless.